Hey there YouTube! Been a while, I know, and I hope that everyone had as good a Christmas and New Year as I did. I had an absolutely wonderful Christmas. Probably, in fact, yeah, it was easily the best I've ever enjoyed. It was spectacular, and I got lots of lovely stuff, some of which you will be seeing on this channel very, very soon. There is a review, a Transformer review coming up, actually, for my Transformer fan friends that will hopefully be one of the best I've ever done. I mean, I hope it is, because the toy that I'm going to review warrants it. I've been wanting it for such a long time, and my boyfriend got it me. I'm very, very pleased. I didn't have enough space in my packaging to bring it back with me from Ireland, so he's sending it through the post at some point. So hopefully it'll arrive soon. I can't wait. But yes, when I arrived back, I actually had a rather unpleasant cold, and I lost my voice for a significant amount of time. I've only just really got it back properly, so I haven't really been able to make any proper YouTube videos. I do apologise. Unfortunately, the subject of this video, and the tone of it, is also going to be, pardon me, somewhat dour in comparison to some of the others that have been on my channel of late. And the subject under question is one that's sort of vogue amongst certain communities on YouTube at the moment, and that is the subject of freedom of speech. It is something that will consistently come up on this channel, because it does seem to be something that is consistently under threat in culture. And the reason it's vogue on YouTube at the moment is because certain communities are under assault. And I know there are many out there who think, well, it's just YouTube, you know, get over it, it's just frivolous, it doesn't matter that much. Bollocks to you, quite frankly. It doesn't matter what medium it comes under. It wouldn't matter if it's a book that's being banned or a movie that's being railed against or whatever. The medium is irrelevant. The moment you have one group censoring another group, when you have someone who believes they have the right to define the lines of freedom of speech, who has the right to say, you can say this but you can't say this, or you can talk about that or you can't talk about this, or you can only talk about this in a certain way, then you don't have freedom of speech. And what is occurring on YouTube is a microcosm of things that are happening in wider culture, which I'll get onto in a moment. For those who are somewhat in the dark on the issue, what is happening is an abuse of the DMCA, the Digital Millennium Copyright Act. And the Digital Millennium Copyright Act is a mechanism, a legal mechanism, designed to protect people's copyrights online. It's so that music and movies and TV programs cannot be redistributed on YouTube and whatnot, so people can protect their intellectual property. Unfortunately, it's very badly implemented. It's a terrible, terrible law. It's badly written, and on YouTube it's particularly poorly implemented, because anyone can launch a DMCA, anyone, and YouTube do not assess it. They do not assess the legitimacy of the claim, despite the fact that if you launch a false DMCA, if you claim that a video contains copyrighted material and it's not your property, you can technically be sued for perjury. But it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen simply because it takes too much time and effort to launch a counterclaim. It takes too much time, effort and money for the most part, and unfortunately until that happens, people will keep doing it. And the reason it's being used is because the moment a DMCA is launched against a video, that video has to be taken down immediately without assessment. And if your channel receives a number of DMCA claims, then YouTube suspend it or terminate it. I want to overemphasize that. They suspend or terminate. And quite frankly, there are a lot of people who pour a lot of effort and creative energy into their YouTube videos and their channels, and it's disgusting that all of that work could be obliterated just because of one group of neurotic imbeciles. At the moment, the groups that are most consistently under threat are the pagan, atheist and agnostic channels on YouTube. Certain groups of fundamentalists are using the DMCA to silence and censor videos and to get channels taken down. And it's happened quite a lot of late to some rather prominent channels. So if you think your channel is safe, unfortunately it probably isn't. And in an effort to combat this, the user Rozeboosje, whose channel I will put a link up to, has created a petition which will hopefully, with enough attention, garner the attention of Google or YouTube or whoever, someone who can do something about the implementation of the DMCA. What ideally needs to happen is there needs to be a situation where each DMCA claim is assessed in and of itself on its own merits, and if it is found to be false, then YouTube and Google should help the user against whom the claim was made to launch a counterclaim. They should provide the details of the user who launched the claim. They should also cough up some of the dough in order to launch the counterclaim, quite frankly, since it's as a result of their system and its failings that the claim was made in the first place. But quite frankly, it's a situation that has to stop. It should have stopped a long time ago. It should have stopped the first time a false DMCA was fucking made. But it hasn't. In fact, there hasn't been anything done about it. Not the slightest thing. The DMCA is still as abusable as it was when it was first implemented. And it's a rotten law. If you actually look at the wording of it and how loose and vague it is, you can tell that it's a new law for a new medium that hasn't been properly thought out. It is abysmally vague. Also, I would address this video to those who are thinking or who would consider launching a false DMCA. I don't think you realise the potential consequences of this. If someone like me is so bloody minded that they would fight it to the hilt, you could go to jail. You could be sued. You could have a serious blotch upon your name as a result of this. It is perjury. You are abusing a legal mechanism. Alright? That's the long and short of it. But as I said earlier, this situation on YouTube is simply microcosmic of something that is happening in the wider world at the moment. And I want to reiterate my position on freedom of speech. I have an absolutist position insofar as freedom of speech goes. I think you either have it or you don't. It's as simple as that. There are no degrees. There are no permutations of freedom of speech. You either have it or you don't. You can either say what you like about what you like, how what you like, or you can't. The moment you have an individual or a group or an institution or whatever defining the parameters of how you can express yourself, you do not have freedom of speech. And this is currently what we have in wider culture. It's something that is gaining ground in Western culture, it seems, and in Western law, which is even more perplexing. There are talks of blasphemy laws in the UN at the moment being coined as a result of influence from particular predominantly Muslim nations. And this just baffles me. The very concept that blasphemy, the concept of blasphemy exists in the Western world is appalling to me. Appalling and perplexing. It is an anachronism. It's something that belongs to a darker past. What is blasphemy anyway? What constitutes blasphemy? This is the principal problem. What constitutes blasphemy? You couldn't even... I doubt even those who hold a concept of it could define it clearly, simply because all perspectives, all religious perspectives, are mutually blasphemous to one another. Any religion or any ideology that states that it is absolute, universally applicable, and that all others are wrong is automatically blasphemous to all other religious ideologies and perspectives. That's the way of it. Therefore, if a law protecting against declamation of religion or against blasphemy were to come into effect, the only way it could be properly applied is if every priest or imam who gives a sermon is arrested, or anyone who vouchsafes an opinion on religion or another religion that they don't hold must also be arrested. It's the only way that kind of law could be implemented fairly. It is insane. It's absolutely absurd.